As-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Amma ba'du fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah. Welcome to each and every single one of you and and also our online participants. Inshallah, we continue our theme of the Dajjal series, and we've been learning something new every single day. The systems, the origins of the Dajjal, how the Dajjal penetrates the individual, in terms of how we will be corrupted. We've learned about who the followers will be. We learned about who the believers will be, who will not be swayed by the traps, the trials and tribulations, temptations of the fitna of that time. And today I have honor in introducing Imam Qays, who obviously you all know before. He's a businessman from the Hyde Oldham area. And they are going to give you some solutions as to how to protect yourself against the fitna of this Dajjal. And the title of their presentation is The Smart Way. We're going to teach you the smart and fast way where you can instantly access certain sort of smart solutions to protect yourself against the fitna of Masiha al-Dajjal. So over to Imam Qays. Jazakallah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Amma ba'du fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba wa lam yaj'al lahu 'iwaja. Sadaqallahu al-azim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Mawlaya salli sallim da'iman abada ala habibika khayri khalqi kullihim. We begin by praising and thanking Allah Azza wa Jal, first and foremost enabling for us to sit in His house for Itikaf, and for enabling us to live in these latter days of month of Ramadan, that is truly blessed us by enabling us to live whatever portion of days that is given as month of Ramadan. Right before Ramadan, we heard the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam reciting the dua, Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. It is a true fadl of Allah that He's enabled us to reach Ramadan. Now we live through many days of Ramadan, and now we're nearing the end. And that is a true favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we thank and we beseech Allah Azza wa Jal to send His unlimited peace and blessings upon His beloved, our messenger, leader of all the prophets and messengers, leader of all worlds, the portrait of human perfection, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his family and upon his companions and upon all those who follow him up until the day of judgment. And we begin also by asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and beseech His special favors and grant high status and blessings upon our mashayikh, our teachers of Tariqat Muhammadiyah, especially upon Sayyidina Abdul Aziz al-Dabbagh, upon Rahimullah, and upon Sayyidina Abdul Qadir al-Jilani Rahimullah, upon Sayyidina Imam Hassan al-Shazali, and upon all of the mashayikh, and upon Sayyidina Ahmad Khidr al-An, and especially upon Sayyidina Ali Karamullah Wajh al-Kareem, and more importantly upon our beloved teacher Sayyidina Ahmad Dabbagh, that through them, that all these elements that you'll be listening throughout the days of Itikaf is through their blessing and fairs and their wisdom that we've been able to devise such a thing. All the asatizas are doing really is effectively learning from them and try to actually put in a structure in place through their affairs and blessing that we can actually come to benefit and protect ourselves from these trials and tribulations that we're seeing and we've been discussing. As you've been listening in these days, you've heard, like Ustaz Zafar has been saying, and Ustaz Majid said yesterday as well, and the days previous, we've heard about the faction and the people who will be with Dajjal, the faction, the people who will be against Dajjal. We've also learnt about what Dajjal, who Dajjal, or what Dajjal stands for really effectively. So just so that I know that you're not falling asleep, because I can be quite a monotonic person and you can fall asleep. I need to make sure that you're awake, because I need your full attention. I can't put you to sleep with a bedtime story now, so I have to make sure you're awake and listen to me. So, who remembers what Dajjal means, the word Dajjal? And online, if you want to also participate, you can do as well. We've got unby admins there who will actually give. Who remembers what the meaning of Dajjal is? Jibajan? The pretender. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? The deceiver. Okay. What does the actual word Dajjal mean? Abdul Qadir? Hey? Does the word Dajjal mean fitna? So the literal meaning of Dajjal is the one who mixes truth with falsehood. Dajjal is basically to mix. It's like when you're mixing a cake, you put flour, you put milk, you put eggs, and you mix it all together and you produce a cake. So that mixing, so why is Dajjal, the word you're saying, deceiver, fitna, pretender, is because he is mixing truth with falsehood. And that is the hardest thing for us to differentiate sometimes. And that is the most dangerous thing, is that when there's element truth in there, but then it's twisted with falsehood. That's why it is fitna. Now, that is what we mentioned what Dajjal is. And you've heard through Ustaz Abdullah, when he was here, he did a nice, beautiful 2-day seminar and talking about the oranges, or the genesis, should I say, of Dajjal. I've learnt a new word, you see, that's why I keep on using it. I never knew what genesis meant until Ustaz Abdullah came. So, these high-level people from down south, they're very, we paupers from the north, we learn English from them, you see. And we also get this sort of, thing that apparently our English is not even English. That's why he's saying la hawla la quwwata illa billah. Although the people of Nelson and the people of Briarfield will say they have the Queen's English, but apparently the people of the South have the real English. So that's why we have to learn English from them as well. So aside from this, is that we've learned from them different aspect of Dajjal. Now, what I will be focused on by the Fazl and Grace of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is just talking about and hearing about Dajjal is not going to be we want some action, we want something to protect us, isn't it? And you probably already know, you're probably thinking now, I don't even need to elaborate, you probably know, because you're probably already were here, I was translating for our English brothers. That's how fluent I am. So as Brother Imran will say, I'm very fluent in Danish, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So all I know about Hene Hene too, there you go. There you go. There you go. You just need to say that. And if you just say Ene Mini Mo, they sound Danish. So we'll go to Brother Umar. Go on, Brother.
Can I say it in Danish?
No, you have to say in English. We can't have translations here.
I think like chaos in society or like chaos.
Okay.
The closest word I can think of.
Chaos. The brother's saying for them. Go on, Zayn. What do you think? Don't say it's me, but we'll go on. I can be, but please don't. Temptations. Okay, that's good. Anybody else? Go on. Test. Very good. Anybody else? Anybody? Fasad. Mashallah. Fasad. Anybody else? All good answers. All brilliant. Anybody else? What does fitna mean, Brother Walid? A trial that has to be passed and failed. So if we've got chaos, we've got trials, we've got fasad, we've got tribulation. Somebody is saying we've got all these, and you're right. It means test or tribulation. A test or tribulation. Fitna means a test or tribulation. The word which in Arabic where it stems from, and we've got Imam Muhammad here, is that the actual word where the phrase that they use in Arabic to actually derive this word fitna is from the expression, I tested the quality of gold with fire. That's where the word fitna came from. Fatantu, it came that I tested, fatantu is that I tested the quality of gold with fire. Now this beautifully explains what fitna is. Why? It's because until you are put into a test, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really, really tests you, what happens to gold? What happens is that you get a rock. You melt it, you melt it, you melt it. If it's meant to be gold, it will see all the coatings will go off and you'll see pure gold coming. If you got a thing which is not gold, it will melt and it'll show its real quality. If you got some other elements, it'll show its real quality, but gold will actually show its pureness. It will start different. When the heat of the furnace will come, it will separate. The qualities, the impurities will separate and pure gold will come. So gold has got a certain standard. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why He's put fitna, why He's actually put trials and tribulation on the face of the earth, is to actually burn us to the core to see who we really are. Are we really true to the covenant that we made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Alam Arwah? Are we really true to that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is burning us down, testing us to see, are we pure? That the iman that He actually gave us, are we still pure? Is it still pure? Is it been contaminated? Who are you really? And you will find yourself out. The many people who say they're found out. When trials and tribulation comes, it is found out. And that is why you heard is the majority of the people will be with Dajjal. They'll be with Dajjal. Why? Is because the test is now here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now really exposing our inner. This is the greatest trial. So therefore, your reality will come out. Hence why many of us, when a test comes, calamity comes, and for anything comes, when we're actually put in that test, our reality comes out. Some people could be ghusa, anger, some people could be disloyalty, some could be fraud, some could be anything, whatever. The reality comes out when that test is put on there. So that is where the word fitna actually is extrapolated from and this is, if you remember this that I tested the quality of gold with fire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now testing us with this calamity, with this trial, with this tribulation, to see who are we really. Are we still loyal to Him? Are we still loyal to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Are we still the servants of Allah? Are we the servants of other? That is the thing. That is what trials are put together. There are many different meanings of fitna. In the Quran, it comes 30 different times, the word fitna in the Quran. 30 different times. Now we could analogize that, if that's the case, is that every day there's a fitna for you. Every day there's a fitna at different levels. And you could be hit by those fitnas in different times. Sometimes the word fitna means to block, to prevent, or turn away from the path of truth and reality. That is what the word fitna means. Sometimes the word Quran uses persecution. When it's been persecuted, that's what the fitna is. Sometimes being a person which is afflicted with madness. The Quran uses this as well. Sometimes the Quran uses discord due to hypocrisy. Spread of corruption, like Fasad, the brother said, spread of corruption in the land. This is all right. That's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this. So these are different terms, a different place in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses these meanings. It means that these, it's not just when we think of a test, just one test, maybe we're waiting for it when we're 18, 19, when we do a GCSE test, A-level test, or we do the exam for our degree and that's it, once a year and so on. The fitna could be within us, in us, around us, maybe 24 hours, whole day, whole week, whole month. In reality, until we die, it's surrounding us. That is the reality. It's not going away. It's like you can't take a break. It's always there. Every moment, every breath, now if I bring it down, forget about years and our lifetime, let's take it to minute level, breath level, that every moment, every breath, there is a choice to be made by the servant. And that choice, that's where the fitna lies, is that the choice is, the test is there, the tribulation is there. You are put in a scenario, in a place, there is a mahal, there's a place which is this dunya, this is where we've been placed at, and in that moment, in that time, if you break it down to breath level, that one breath, that one moment, you can either actually go and obey Allah and be successful, or you can go and disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be unsuccessful. That is what we're doing effectively. We're not seeing this. The awliya and the salihin, they calculate the breath. Because the breath, like Imam Ghazali rahimahullah, they've said, is that this is really your jewel. This is your capital. This is the precious commodity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given, that one breath that you have. We don't know how many thousands or millions of breaths we've got left. We don't know. But when you have this opportunity, if you bring it down, if you shorten the space of time and we go to breath level, reality is, are we actually succeeding on that breath level? Is that when we breathe, once it's breathed, once you breathe that one moment of breath that you've exhaled, now tell me this, brothers. Can you breathe it back in? Take that back in again? Finish. That's it. That life has expired now. It's gone. Once you breathe that one breath, you've exhaled that breath, it's gone now. What did you do with that breath? Which way did you turn? Which way did you go? That's why I say the fitna is there. It's surrounding us. We're not, even in here, we're surrounded with fitna. Because there's an enemy within. And that's why Ustad Harun was talking about what? The nafs, the ego. And the base of desires, and desires what it wants. There's an enemy within. And we think we're free. We think, oh yeah, if we're in a nice, alhamdulillah, house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yeah, look, we've got protection. No, fitna not going to come here. Yeah? But what about the enemy within? If that's the case, why do you get ghussa? If that's the case, why do you actually start talking bad about someone? If that's the case, why do you look suspicious of someone? If that's the case, why do you talk ill of someone? So we are surrounded with enemy, outwardly and inwardly. Now, this inward enemy can also be a friend, like Ustaz Harun has mentioned. How you can make him your friend. How you can actually help him. That's a different matter. Inshallah, you've actually discussed that. Now we've discussed the word fitna. What are the types of fitna then that you think that we go through? Okay? So ponder. I'll give you a minute to think. Literally a minute. I don't have a minute counter, but I'll just count it down for you. Literally think is that what are the types of fitna that you can go through in this life? Okay? You can discuss it in your pairs next to you if you want help. Don't hold hands, but you can just discuss. Now, discuss one another. I'm going to give you a minute, and after that minute, I will be asking you. Bismillah. Right, okay. 1 minute is over now, brothers. See, you want extra time? Somebody's playing for extra time here. No, 1 minute is over now, honestly. We're not going to have any penalties either. Okay, no shootout. Okay, brothers, 3, 2, 1. Right, brothers. Okay, 1 minute is over now. Okay, I need some of you now just to discuss. Somebody's not spoken before. Who's going to be speaking now? Somebody's not said anything yet. What are the types of? Go, Brother Fabio. There. Brother Fabio. You can say one, yeah. Just say, but don't give it to. I'm sure. So, yeah, just say one.
Social media.
Social media, fitna.
Sorry, unrestricted access to social media.
Unrestricted access to social media, fitna. Yes, good. Anybody else?
Anything, everything who take you away from Allah Ta'ala, this is a fitna.
MashaAllah, excellent answer. Is that anything, anyone that takes you away from Allah, that is fitna. Okay, anybody else?
I said family.
Family, MashaAllah.
Conflict within the family.
Good, MashaAllah, family. Anybody else? Brother here, go on.
The pavement.
The pavement?
Yeah, when you're
Oh
walking
dear.
past people.
Excellent. Where are you from, brother? Bradford, MashaAllah. You know, in Bradistan is a very, very different country to our UK. In Bradistan, the payment is an issue, is a fitna. We have to make sure that Adil, were you helping him? Okay, that's good. Okay, that's fine. Okay, mashallah. Anybody from what? The world, mashallah, world. Wealth, sorry. Sorry, I'm also getting deaf as well. Wealth. As you know, I'm getting old, you see. You know, I'm getting old. People are saying I need a hearing aid as well. So we've got social media. We've got brother saying family. Another brother saying the pavement. Okay, we'll take that as environment, I suppose. And we've got wealth. Go on, by Imran.
Yeah, we got to agree, most of the things in your daily life, your family, work, money.
Okay, just one, just one, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So one is everything.
One that hasn't been mentioned.
Yeah. Brother Ibrahim says woman.
Woman, okay, women, okay.
Just only brother.
Brother Ibrahim and Brother Imran, do you want to go home? Are you sure? Let me just tell you is that, you need to get we call our wives the Home Affairs Minister. She gives us a visa. We can stay out as long as we can. And we have sometimes we have multiple entry. When we can go in the house, come back again. But if she gives you one way entry and out and that's it, one visa and that's it. One is that they've been given permission to come to Itikaf and you go back. There's no multiple entry here. So I don't know how you're going to go back home, so be careful, brothers. And sisters, if you're listening, we'll just be telling the reality, that's all, sisters, yes? Is that the Home Affairs Minister, if they give the shield of multiple entry, then the men can go out many times they want. If they don't give you permission, you stay home, babysit. Simple as that. Go on.
I meant others women.
Others woman. Right, okay, now he's trying to retract now. He's very worried because his wife may be listening. Baji might be listening at home. And he's very worried now because when he gets to the airport, no entry. There's no entry there. So mashallah is good. Sisters, we are just a light-hearted humor here. Please don't get offended. And please make sure you give us multiple entries. Okay. Any others? Any other fitna that you can think of? So we've got women. Likewise for women, for men, will be men. Yes, Siraj, yes. Don't hide behind the pillar. Are you saying jab is a fitna? Astaghfirullah. MashaAllah. Distraction, okay. Friends can be fitna as well. Okay, we'll take that. Education, okay. Knowledge. MashaAllah. Subhanallah. Majid, you really enjoyed this audience, didn't you? Majid? You really enjoyed this audience, didn't you? They're to the point, yeah? MashaAllah.
Apart from
By Imran, yeah. Okay, MashaAllah. So, yeah, Dajjal.
I was thinking maybe music could be.
Music could be fitna, yes. Yeah. So we've got different variants, and I'm just gonna say through Surah Kahf, obviously, but there are different times and different things. Allah SWT mentions different places. We've mentioned that as well, of the types of fitna. One thing you've not mentioned is about the fitna with regards to your faith, your iman. Your iman is being tested. Hard time is your iman been tested through waswas, through different things, different ways, social media. Brothers in Denmark, what's happening is that the people burning the Quran, brothers and sisters in Palestine, what's happened to them, why is actually Palestine and also Bayt al-Muqaddas been overtaken and all the lands have been taken, different fitna. These are sometimes regarding the Prophet ﷺ, different accusations they make against them, regarding the companions, regarding our belief. All these different things, new Orientalist, Western world, society, different values, philosophers, even shaitanic things are actually coming to test our iman. And this is dangerous. Very dangerous. And it's so, sometimes it's like the most blatant ones. I'm not going to get Brother Ustaz Majid here, he obviously pointed them out quite clearly. But our iman is being tested, even from a young age, where they're trying to nurture this and grow this deceitful mentality in them, nurture them in there, where at the end they don't even know who they are and their identity. They don't know. Is a Muslim supposed to, is she allowed to do this, not allowed to do this? Can they do that, can they not do that? Because that is what the society is. It's a godless society, really, what's happening. At one time, majority of people were, believe it or not, irrespective, is most of the time, is that people in Europe, they were all people of faith. Now it's becoming godless. They are actually going away from faith and actually just following their whims and desires how they want. So your faith constantly, in everyday scenarios, is sometimes subtly and sometimes blatantly is being attacked. Our faith, our iman. And sometimes we need to now uphold it. So how can we preserve that? As a lot of you mentioned, fitna of wealth. What is happening? What's happening is that the fitna of wealth is that we get so wound up on our businesses, we educate ourselves, then we always try to think is, how can I make more? How can I make more? One business, then another business. Okay, one job to another job. I want promotion, I want to get more. Now that's people who are trying to earn their lawful way of trying to get promotion. Then you got the other elements. Now this is rife, isn't it? You talk about the streets of Bolton, the streets of Hyde, the streets of Nelson, the streets of everywhere, streets of London. What's happening with youngsters, 13-year-old, 14-year-olds, becoming runners for drugs? Why? Because a 13, 14-year-old, when he sees £150 a week, £200 in his pocket, he thinks, what on earth is happening? They think by the age of 17, they want the Mercedes, they want the BMWs. That's it, that's what their aspiration is. They don't care. They're not bothering that I'm killing somebody with my drugs. I'm actually killing somebody with these toxic things that I'm selling. But they're not bothered. Why? They're just absolutely engrossed in their wealth. They just want the wealth. From age. I remember when we were at that age, we were just doing still newspaper rounds, but that's a different matter. But nowadays what? Kids are stabbing one another for what? Territory. Why? Because that's their territory, that's where they deal the drugs. That's what they're actually doing. This is our territory. I mean, like that recently you've heard in Liverpool, a poor 9-year-old was shot. This person's been put away in prison for 30 odd years, etc., etc. Imagine he's chasing another gang member, another member who came to his area, his turf, selling drugs without his permission. And he was brutal and he said, okay, you come to my turf, I will kill you. Literally, he got the gun, he chased him with the gun to try and kill him. He went to another room and what happened? He went to one of the houses, he escaped through that. They saw a little girl and this is what happens. Is that, I'm only saying by what they've related, we don't know the reality, but this what they said is that the little girl's there in front, he didn't care, shot her straight in the chest. What? For what? A life has no... how much is a life? What value are you going to give to life? What price do you put to life? If you must be completely a madman, you must have completely lost it, that you see a child, an innocent child, a 9-year-old child, and you're so heartless that you're so dying of your wealth, you want to live in your wealth that you don't even bother, you're willing to kill them, shoot them, right in front of them, just a few meters away. That is not actually being a strong man, that's cowardice. Absolute cowardice. What we're saying is that through wealth, we are losing. It's a fitna of a look is taken to such extremes. From individual level, because of wealth, we can defraud one another. On social level, because of wealth, we can actually outdo one another. International level, countries doing over another countries, doing zulm because of wealth. This is fitna. This is a trial. Family, most of you mentioned, I've talked about wives and children. Inna amwalakum awladukum. Fitna is that your family can also be fitna. Your children can be fitna. Many of us who are married, who have children, is because you give your time to your child, you give everything that you're working. Anything of those of you who are not married, you won't understand. But once you become married and you have a child, your whole life changes. All your life is now is to actually serve and make sure you serve or bring that child. Make sure that they get the best of education, best of clothes, best of foods. And the child doesn't even know what the parents are doing. There's a beautiful saying that as soon as the child is born, is that their life is finished effectively. All the parent does is just focus on the child. We weren't appreciative of our parents. I'm just saying that because this is what we were doing. We thought, this mom and dad. But mom and dad are actually, all they've done is just look after us. And now you're doing the same. Now you can understand what mom and dad were doing. Hence why they deserve the utmost respect. Because they gave their life of enjoyment and fun and enjoyment is gone. Until they read you up and you're independent. But then they become old. They're weak. They can't move. Because they spent everything on you. Me and you. And we don't have the courage to go and see them, make them smile, serve them. That's why one of the du'as you should say, that Jibreel made is that whoever has parents who've reached old age, woe and may be destroyed, that when they were in old age, he didn't do the khidmah. When they reach old age. And Rasulullah said, Ameen to that when they were going up the minbar. You've heard of that hadith, haven't you? Yes? So it's not a light matter. Looking after and respecting parents is one of the greatest things you could do. But only when you become a parent that you can really understand what that means. When you really, really understand and how grateful we were to our parents that we didn't actually look at them. How they sacrifice everything like you are doing now. Look, the types of, you are going to say to yourself is that whatever I didn't have, I want my child to have. That's what everybody says. Isn't it? But the child is not grateful, is it? You know, you might buy them the PS5, you might buy them all the clothes later. We were in probably rags and tags, but the child doesn't understand that. And we didn't understand what our parents were doing. So it's a cycle though. So now what's happened is that because of the family, and because of the family, because you want your child to have everything, you've forgotten Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You just focus on the family. You just focus on the wife. That's a fitna. That because of that, what happens is that he's earning enough, alhamdulillah. But what's happened, the child is seeing, oh dad, but he's got a PS5. But he's got Adidas. He's got Nike. I would also like that. Parent is fine, but because the child is making that request, he doesn't have enough money. He's just, especially in this time of financial crisis that we're going through, and living crisis we're going through, is that they can see other people, they're buying these different gifts for Eid, but they don't have it. And obviously, naturally, the parent will feel upset. He's just about, or she's just about barely surviving, just paying the bills out. When the child says this, it hurts the parent so much. So now it's a test of the faith of the parent. What is it? Is that do they earn unlawfully to get the extra money so they can fulfill the joy or happiness of the child? That is a test. Do they earn unlawfully to actually now appease the child and make sure the child is happy? Do they earn unlawfully? The wife is saying, oh look, she has got this, she's got so many jewelry, she's got so many dresses. What about me? I haven't had any dresses. Oh, they've got this, and they've got this lamp, and they've got this shade. When are we going to decorate our house, and when are we going to do this? Now the husband's under pressure. What do? They don't have enough money. Maybe they accumulated money for something else. Now he's under pressure. He's thinking, imagine, is that as soon as when we utter this, when we put that sort of pressure in, the stress the husband feels is that how can I also please the wife? I'm trying my best. How can I please the wife? Honestly, we really don't understand husbands and wife and children. We really don't understand this dynamics where we utter things and how much pressure we're putting on each other for no reason. But now, as soon as the wife says, look, they have got this, why don't we have it? They've got so much gold, I don't have much. They've got this much, they've got a fancy car, why we don't even have one? And what happens is that they play on the ego of the person, and what happens if he's not trained, he will think, Waki, she's on my case, how do I do, what do I do? Then he tries to think, where can I do a quick business, where can I do a quick fix, where can I get quick money? It may not be lawful. That's when it starts murking about. This is what happens, family. And and sad thing is that the family are the first ones who will probably also leave you as well when things go wrong. Wife will leave you, children will leave you. When you become bankrupt, you've got nothing, when your health goes, your everything goes, and you can't provide, they'll probably say, goodbye dad, goodbye mum, we don't need you. I'm not saying everybody did, I'm saying that they could be the first. How many stories have you heard people have ended homeless because why? Family have left them. So they can be fitna. There's no loyalty. Only loyalty lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will never leave you. Everybody else can leave you. He will never leave you. It's only the servant that actually leaves. Knowledge, ilm, big fasad, big problem. Why? You have knowledge, you think that's it, I know everything. You just need to go to a madrasa to see how the students are actually are competing with them. I know better than you, know better than them. You get two people getting them into debate, I know better, do you know better, and that's it, they're arguing. Or I know the people are arguing about philosophy of life, people are arguing about this is better way, this is not better way, this is healthy, this is not healthy. Like when COVID came, everybody was a doctor. Oh, have this, have the famous, have ginger and turmeric, you'll be fine, that's it, you'll be fine. Some are saying, no, have some honey. Some are saying, no, etc. Unfortunately, there are some people saying, have dung and urine of cow, and that will also sort you out. But knowledge, everybody's knowledge. People think they know better. Everybody can become a doctor. Somebody falls ill, everybody. Now, this is what happens. Knowledge now is actually competing. People are the science done, people in the medical field, the people in the science, people in biology, everybody have different say on different things, different matters. So it becomes a fitna. You have conflicting advice. One person saying, for example, look, the government has to decide, shall we put them in lockdown, not put them in lockdown? No, if you put them in lockdown, this many people will be saved. But if you don't put them in lockdown, the economy is going. So one knowledge of doctors and medicines are saying is this, but the economists are saying, no, we're going to be complete recession if you do that. Now what do? Decisions, fitna. So this is where knowledge can also actually, knowledge regarding akhirah, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people are arguing and fighting. Muslims amongst one another, with one another, they're arguing and fighting. This is daif, this is sahih, this is this is that, arguing about. One thing I will say about different fractions is that, is there anyone, is there any group, is there any sect that actually says sin is good? That's what our beloved teacher has mentioned the other day. You don't need a degree to tell you ghiba is bad. You don't need a degree to tell you you should pray. You don't need a degree to tell you that you should actually refrain from suspicious mind and sinful thoughts. You don't need a degree to tell you that. You already have more or less consciously aware that this is how it is. The problem that is lacking in us, in this society, in this day and age, and also in the other age as well, is that there is, nowadays I say, is that there is no lacking of knowledge. Why? You got Sheikh Google. Everybody's a student of Sheikh Google. And Sheikh Google, you just need to type in, you get it. Even our brother Ustaz Shabir, he said is that I use Sheikh Google for my definition of something, and he got it. He got the definition of backbiting, Sheikh Google, and he said, hey, that's quite good, Sheikh. I'll take you. Chat GPT, now you've got Chat GPT, the AI using, and you can get that, use that, this is knowledge. But now, just on a little chip, you can have whole of the Sahih Sitta. You can have all the books of Tafasir. You can have all the books of Tazkiyah. Let me just ask you, by reading books of Tazkiyah, of purification, will that purify you? Hey, what do you mean? Why, what do you mean? You just said, I have to study Tazkiyah. Learn the path, learn the way, the different stages, the auras, how sin enters, how it actually thing is, the different maqamas, the different stations, the different. Will reading about Tazkiyah purify you? And you're all saying no, but why? Brother, we have to discuss this now here.
I think we should.
Brother Numan, why are you saying no?
I think I would look at the analogy of Shaitan, who has so much knowledge. But I've listened to you and this service. I think the actions are more powerful than the knowledge.
MashaAllah. So Brother Numan is saying is that actions are more powerful than knowledge. Okay. Somebody else, you've all said so. Who else said no, that the reading books of Tazkiyah said it will not purify? Who else said no? From Al-Yameen. Come on, please. People of the right. Imam Muhammad, go on. Inshallah, let's listen to his blessed words. Careful. Are you okay, Zafar? Yeah.
If knowledge were the only key to tazkiyah and if knowledge were the only key to tazkiyah or for the purity of the heart and for ascension in ranks and degrees, then that would exclude the majority of people. It would bar the illiterate, it would bar the simple people who don't have access to education. And as we know that the majority of the Sahaba were not scholars and didn't have much knowledge. Most of the Sahaba had one hadith of the Rasul ﷺ that they committed to memory, but they all attained the highest level of wilaya. And so, therefore, it's not knowledge, although knowledge is necessary and needed because it establishes the boundaries of the Sharia. Yes, but it doesn't mean that it is the only access. It's the only thing that allows people access into wilaya or to purity.
Jazakallah. Bashir, is that what we're saying here is that the many, especially tulab al-ilm, this is referring to most of them, is that people get so fixated. There is shari'i basic knowledge that you need. Everybody needs essential knowledge, because we said the greatest purifier. If our beloved teacher, they mentioned this already. I don't want to regurgitate. They said in the morning as well, is that the greatest purifier is the knowledge of aqaid and having a sound belief. This is the greatest purification of the heart. So then having purpose in life, this actually purifies direction of life, objective of life. This purifies it. Now, what's happening is that if we get so fixated, this is why the call of Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmallah comes, is that what's happening is that they're reading more and more hadith, they're reading more and more hadith, they're reading more and more hadith, reading more and more tafsir, reading more and more tafsir. It's like there's never satisfaction. It's like this is two types of wealth. One is wealth, the actual physical wealth that you accumulate with this dunya. There is a wealth of knowledge. Two people that can never be satisfied. They want more and more and more. It's never satisfied. The thing is that Sayyidina Ghaus, like Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmallah said, is that, oh, people of knowledge, or people tulabul ilm, and also people seeking knowledge, is that when will you close the book of seeking knowledge and open the book of amal? I actually say this to a lot of my congregations and followers, is that who used to actually think it, is that I used to say to them, is that I also say this now as well, is that you people are better than me. 100% you are better than me. Why? Is because I am saying a hadith, I will tell you a fadila of an amal, and you hear it and you do it. Me, I will think of ways of not doing it. Na'uz billah min dhalik. Why? I have the knowledge. I'm only there. I'm learning it so I can tell you it. But the reality should have been is that I learn it so I do it myself and then I tell you how to do it as well. And this element of doing is now going away, and that's why the barakah, real knowledge, is now eradicating slowly. It's because we've forgotten this element of amal. Especially, so please take no offense to any scholars who are here, or to Labul, it's no offense. I'm just saying that if you, for example, people going about al-Hikam, let's go read the Hikam, let's go Ibn al-Secondary Hikam, and people are saying, yeah, let's read it, and they get fascinated. Oh, look at this wonderful analogy they use. Or they read a story of Jalaluddin Rumi, rahmallah, look wonderful, or they read stories of Sayyidina Qadir Jilani. Reading about them will not purify us. It will create the thirst, maybe. It may explain certain things. Until we actually walk the walk, until we actually do, that is when the real benefit will lie. So knowledge becomes a fitna. Knowledge can also, it's a two-edged sword. It can actually take you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it can actually take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well.
So we rightly saying that so the knowledge is 30% and the actual is 70%.
Forget 30%. I'm saying is that, let's make it even simpler. I'm saying is that learn your basic aqaid, sound belief, learn your basic faraiz and wajibats, and then just do. And that learning only takes maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 days. Just dedicate just learning your simple aqidah and belief system, and then learn the basic do's and don'ts of fiqh. You can go every day to your local Imam Sahib and ask him, can you teach me basic? After you learn the basic, just do. And then to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, learn the basic system. That's what the brother are talking about, the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how you can actually do it. And then after that, enroll and just do. That is how our mashayikh have been telling us. That is how Sayyidina. That's why what happens is that it's not about let's read about thesis upon what the fourth stage is about, the third stage is about. Once you know the stages, you know the journey, you know how the journey is, how to achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you start on the essential organs of the body. You start with the tongue, you start with the eyes, you start with the hands, the feet and stomach, then the mind, then the heart, and then the ego, the nafs and so on. So knowledge can also be a fitna. Next thing, as you know, power. Now this is from individual level, family level, societal level. As an individual, there's a battle going on. You are the man. You want to be powerful. There's a battle between the ego and yourself, the spirit. Ego might dominate. Most of us, the ego is dominating us. Then there is a battle in the family. Is the husband or the wife, who is the stronger? There is a power struggle. Who dominates? As they say, who wears the trousers or the pants, as it's in the house. Is that who's the person who's actually really dominant? There's always going to be one. If what happens is, if they think they're equal, that's when you get arguments. Why? I have a nuclear power and you have a nuclear power. And they say, come on then, who's going to shoot first? You shoot first, I will shoot again. And that is where war starts in the house. Or you said it first and you said it after. Khala says power. It's a power struggle. Power within the family, power within yourself, power within the family. Then what happens? And if there are people who are committee people and presidents, chairmen of masjid, and this is, I'm just saying, please don't take an offense, power within the masjid, power struggle in the committee. I'm president, you're executive, chairman, secretary. Fight. Why? Authority. Who can be a stronger person? Who's that? Amongst ulamas, scholars, who's got monitor? I am a mufti, I am allama, I am this, I am that. I am a sheikh of this, Shaykh al-Hadith, Shaykh al-Islam. Power. And there. In everything there's power. Then there's power between leaders, countries. This is a fitna. Now tell me, from the example of the life of the Prophet or the Sahaba, is that this power issue, what did they do? Sayyidina Bilal radhiyallahu anhu, what was he? He was a slave. But what did he become? What did I just say? Sayyiduna. The companion Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu, Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdullah ibn Umar and others, they say, Ja'a Sayyiduna. To whom? Our master has come. To whom? Sayyidina Bilal. This concept of status and honor is not about power of what background you are or what wealth you have or what you possess. It's about taqwa, love of Allah. That is where we get status, not through how much nuclear bombs and atom bombs you have, how much wealth you have, how much thing you have. No. It's the concept of actually status. Because what they do, they all want to be high, they want to be liked, they want to be loved. All these people, they're actually fighting one another. Why? They want to be superpower, super thingy. But if you look at the companions, all they did was, they looked at who was the most practiced and who was the most pious and who had the most greatest love of the Prophet ﷺ, and they recognized that. And they respected that. So they didn't care if you're a color black or color white or color yellow. Doesn't matter the color. It doesn't matter how much wealth they had. They didn't look at this. Most of the Sahaba were poor. Most of them were poor. They had very little amount of money. They gave everything in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yet still, they had that ultimate respect, and that is why they were able to win hearts over. Without a sword, they won hearts over just by speaking and by their action. They were melted. Once they were in a battle, Sayyidina Muawiyah was a great tactician. Military-wise, a great military commander, a great tactician. What happened is that, I don't remember the battle, that they were getting ready. He came up with the idea. Normally they tent out and they say, we're going to fight you at this time, and the daytime at this point. We'll fight you then. He wanted to take advantage. He thought is that we will take them by surprise at night time and slaughter all of them. When this happened, imagine, look, when Sayyidina Umar heard this, that what they did, they took them by surprise at Fajr time. They went and they actually seized everybody without actually killing many or had any. They seized control of the other side of the army, and who gave up. Easy win for Sayyidina Muawiyah. What did Sayyidina Umar do when he heard of this? He written a letter back saying that you're gone against the etiquette of fighting. Give back the soldiers, realign your fight again, battle. When the other camp heard this, they retracted the army, they brought them back into position. They said, what's happening? We've been ordered by our Amir that we've actually gone against the etiquettes of fighting, and we should actually go back and retreat, and we surrender your land. We will do another battle, we'll do it again properly when you're ready. They said, if this is how your commander is like, if this is how Amir is like, we embrace Islam. If this is such a rule, if this is such a religion that does this, that you could have slaughtered us, you could have slayed us, no problem. But if you're so cautious about this, what to say about other matters, how cautious you'd be. This is how the companions were. People of not just knowledge but amal, character, and displaying that character, that conduct in times of peace and in times of war. How the one heart's over. Another fitna, obviously the main one here, you're all going to be saying, yeah, shaitan, it whispers. Or as we like to call voices as well, okay? Shaitanic whispers, temptations, do this, yeah, don't do this, right? That's what's happening. Shaitan is whispering his subliminal message which is coming through, etc., etc. He's only whispering though, it's only a temptation, it's just an invitation. It's up to us to actually accept or not. But through that, through the temptations, through the whispers, through this, killings are happening, divorce is happening, fights are happening, arguments are happening, murders are happening, theft is happening. What? He only whispered, but then we enacted that whisper. We did that. That's all Shaitan does. His power, he even said, is that Allah SWT is actually calling you to His way, and He's calling you to Dar es Salaam, and I'm also calling you as well. I'm also actually giving you an invitation. But you chose not to accept Allah's invitation, you chose mine. La talumuni walumu anfusakum. Is that don't blame me, blame your own self. You're the one who accepted it. So shaitanic temptation, this is another thing which is a fitna. And obviously, these are all minor fitna. This is all, you're all worrying about, obviously the greatest fitna, which is what? Dajjal. Now imagine those are minor fitnas. These are mini Dajjals that we should be worrying about. Of family, of friends, of society, of what? Of knowledge, of power, of wealth. These are the mini Dajjal that we mean you should be looking at, but we're not. And we're worrying about big Dajjal here, the Dajjal himself, which is the greatest. In other words, that all those things we've talked about is going to be multiplied and it's going to be in front of your eyes, that you'll imagine being shown heaven and hell. Imagine being shown that, okay, this person says, is been told, okay, would you believe me if I bring your parents back to life? He's been shown this. How much of a great trial this is, great tribulation this is. So he is the greatest fitna. But the thing is that what we want to do is that maybe most likely we are not going to be in that time. What is our Dajjal? What is our fitna? What is our Dajjal? Is it the women? Is it the wealth? Is it the wealth? Is it the status? Is it the power that we're after? Or is it all of these things that we discussed? A mixture of these things, or one of those things. Which one is it? That's what we have to ask ourselves. So how do we begin to then protect ourselves? That was just illusion. Now how do we begin to protect ourselves? Rasulullah said is that one of the ways you can protect yourself, because if this is protection like our beloved Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh, they said is that Rasulullah prescribed Surah Al-Kahf. One narration, it says, read the first 10 verses. Another narration says, read the last 10 verses. Another narration even says, even further, listen to this, just read the first verse of Surah Al-Kahf. First verse, and that's what I've written here, the first verse of Surah Al-Kahf, it will save you from Dajjal, the fitna of Dajjal. So we'll explore this first verse. But what our beloved teachers, they mentioned is that if Surah Al-Kahf is cure and protection, you could say protection against Dajjal, and he is the greatest fitna, then this surah definitely will have a cure and protection for the smaller fitna that is around. If this is for the greatest fitna, bare shak, without a doubt, it actually cure you and protect you from the other fitnas around there. So how? How will it cure you? How will it protect? Let's look at this first verse. Alhamdulillah alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba wa lam yaj'al lahu iwaja. Let's look at this. Let's introspect this a bit more. Alhamdulillah. How does this one verse help us to protect? Alhamdulillah, by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what you're saying is that, Ya Rabbal Alameen, you are perfect. Why would you praise someone? Somebody has excellency and perfection in something, that's why you're praising them. They are extolling in that quality, in that perfection. All his sifat and quality are perfect, unlimited perfection, and that is why we say Alhamd. Alhamdulillah, all praise belongs to you. He created the heaven and earth. Look, is there anything holding them? We can't even see any imperfection. The sun rises rises and sets. The moon comes and goes. Everything is actually orbiting its fixed time. Everything, the whole universe is running. Our heart is beating. We don't have control. Our mind is functioning. We don't have. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created all of this and has put this perfection in everything that is done in the most perfect way. That is why He deserves Alhamd. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is perfect, so the moment you will see Dajjal, you know for a fact that he's imperfect. By saying Alhamdulillah, automatically it's slain. Just like Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh, they're saying is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not one-eyed. It's imperfection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you cannot see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with these eyes on the face of the earth. You know for a fact he's an imposter. Straight away. So that's why Alhamdulillah, all praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My Lord, my Rabb is perfect, He's not flawed. Dajjal is imperfect. The verse is all automatic. With this one bit, Alhamdulillah is actually automatically telling you it's not him. He is definitely an imposter and it saves you. Anzala ala abdihi. He's revealed upon his servant. He has his servant, his chosen servant. Abdihi is a very close, intimate thing. Being called Abd. Rasulullah is loved. When Allah SWT took Rasulullah to Bayt for Miraj, he said, Subhanallah asra bi abdi. Allah SWT gave the greatest title that he wanted was to be called servant, the worshipper of Allah. He loved that title, the highest title, Abdiyat, of servitude. So this is his chosen servant, chosen prophet, chosen messenger. Rasulullah ﷺ is a chosen messenger, chosen worshipper. He is his beloved. He was sent. And Dajjal is self-directed, self-appointed imposter. By saying Allah Abdihi is that he was, Allah SWT revealed upon his beloved. Allah SWT did not send the imposter with any speciality and such. It's not his selected servant. It's not his servant. It's his enemy. He's self-imposed. First he'll say, I am a wali. Then he'll say, I am a prophet. Now the last and the greatest thing he'll say, now I am God because I have these powers. Al-Kitab, walam yaj'al lahu iwaja, the book, a guidance, a manual for life. Allah SWT has chosen his special messenger and he sent us a book, a manual for life. And it's not crooked. It's not bent. There's no deviancy. There's no, oh, do it bent here, do it bent there. No, there's no. It's just clear, praying straight and clear, upholds the truth and upholds what is right and wrong. Tells you in a clear way how to achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to live your life in this world. What is right, what is wrong. He made it clear. What is the Dajjal going to do? He's going to bend it. Make it crooked. He's going to mix it. Blending falsehood with the truth. So, book of guidance for us to follow. Already the Dajjalic books are already out of misguidance. So much misguidance out there to tempt you to question your faith, to question your iman, to take you away from your purpose. It's already there. So these first verse alone is sufficient to protect you, and then not just reciting it, understanding and contemplating the meaning of these verses. What we get from Surah Al-Kahf is what? Is that Surah Al-Kahf means cave. It's a cave. It's all talk about Surah Al-Kahf. It means a cave on a high mountain. A cave on a high mountain where you go to seek protection from. What did the people of the cave do? Ashab Al-Kahf, that's one of the stories. To safeguard their iman, to safeguard their faith, they went and entered the cave to protect themselves from the fitna which is surrounded them. That's the solution that Surah Al-Kahf is telling me and you. Is that if you want to safeguard yourself from all these fitnas which is surrounding you, exactly what we've done here, what have we done? We've come for itikaf, we're secluding ourselves. That is what Surah Al-Kahf is implying for us to do. Is that if you look at the different stories, the fitnas that we talked about Surah Al-Kahf, about the Ashab Al-Kahf is about the faith related, then it's about wealth, the two men talking about the wealth in the garden, then we look at the story of Sayyidina Khidr and Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, then we talk about, which is about knowledge, then we talk about waswas and shaitan, then we talk about power, about Yajuj, Majuj, Zulkarnain, it's about power struggle. All these different things are telling you of the fitna which is at your son, and it's supernatural as well, which is there. The fitna which is surrounded you. And in order to do that, the very first thing you need to do is go into a cave, i.e. go into seclusion. That's why Rasulullah before the Quran was revealed, before Nabuwwat, what was he doing in the cave of Hira? Seclusion. Meditating. Then even for migration, what did he do? Seclusion. Cave of thought. When matters become difficult and you need protection, this is the ultimate solution that Allah has given, is that you need to go in seclusion. What doing that is seclude yourself from this fitna, be it in your room, be it in a mosque, be it in a cave, but you need to seclude, isolation. Seclude yourself away from these things, away from things which will harm your faith, away from the things which will harm your wealth, which is the fitna of the wealth, away from the fitna of family, away from the fitna of knowledge, away from the fitna of power, away from the fitna of Dajjal, of temptations, of devilish temptations. That is what you need to do. When you isolate yourself in that, that is when you will find relief. And the thing me and you are not doing is we are exposed to the fitna 24/7 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. And we never actually ponder, wait, I'm being drained here. I'm being exhausted here. I need to find that moment to safeguard myself from this. I need to find a moment where I can recharge. I need to find a moment when I can actually do battle again. So one of the allusions, one of the things that Surah Al-Kahf is alluding is that you should go into seclusion. The smart people, and another thing, stemming from the verse of Alhamdulillah ala abdi al-kitab wa lam yaj'alu iwaja, stemming from that verse is that, so you got Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you got His the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you got the kitab, three things of kitab. That is why the smart people, what the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said is, I have left you with two matters. This is also another solution to how to protect ourselves. I have left you with two matters which will never lead you astray as long as you hold to them. What are they? The Book of Allah, Al-Kitab, and the Sunnah of His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will never go astray if you hold on to this. And what does Sayyidina what does Hazrat Isa represent? He will have the Quran. He is there. Last minute, but he'll be represented Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the form that he's also his prophet, his messenger. He's not a newborn prophet, but he's also a prophet of Allah. And he's Ruhullah, he's been given the special power to slay the Dajjal. To slay the Dajjal. So Book of Allah, you hold firm to the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Next, another hadith Rasulullah mentioned is that Book of Allah and hold on to the Ahlul Bayt. You'll not get misguided. And who does Imam Mahdi represent? He represents the Ahlul Bayt. So you cling on to Imam Mahdi and the Quran and Ahlul Bayt, you'll also be from these two hadith. That is why these two prominent figures, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam and Sayyidina Imam Mahdi will be prominent in the fact that if you hold on to them, people who hold on to them, they will not go astray. You'll always be left safeguarded. These people, also Sayyidina Khidr, Sayyidina Imam Mahdi, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, these three people, what do they have in commonality? The commonality is that they were the embodiment. One is a friend of Allah, another one is also a friend of Allah. The greatest friend is the highest level of friendship after Prophets and Messengers Sahaba. He is the highest, he is the seal of the awliya, Imam Mahdi. And then you have Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, who is a prophet of Allah. Three personalities, they all outsmarted Dajjal. How? Because they embodied the teachings of the Quran and they embodied the Sunnah of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam inwardly and outwardly. They reflected that. Now if you go to the hadith which Ustad Ijaz and also Ustad Abdullah mentioned, do you remember the hadith when they said that the Dajjal cannot enter Makkah and Medina? Bayt al-Maqdis. Do you remember the hadith yet? Now, one ishara is given is that person who will embody the Quran, who will embody the sifat and quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that person who will actually be engrossed and embody the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Dajjal can't influence and cannot get near him. He cannot attack. There's a protective shield there that will actually protect him from actually getting close to him. What is the method then? I've mentioned Surah Al-Kahf is a solution. That's what Rasulullah said. Simple thing, silence. Our teacher they mentioned is that the two great amals you can do after sound faith and belief, and after fara'id, long periods of silence. Now here is a very, very holistic meaning. And for this, tomorrow Ustaz Alam will actually go through about the path of tazkiyah and how it actually helps to silence. This silencing is not just the tongue really, it's silencing It is not just a tongue, but silence their eyes from gazing at unnecessary things, silencing the ears from actually listening to music and other things, silencing the hands from doing fraud, silencing the feet from going to any places, silencing the mind from thinking evil thoughts, silencing the heart from having envy and jealousy and so on, silencing all these so that there can be harmony and peace, because there's too much noise with this. So silence. And the course of purification, which Dr. Shalom would like to go through, the smart method of how to silence this, not just how you can actually silence the tongue, how you can silence the organs of the body, silencing the mind and the evil thoughts, silencing the heart, silence the evil desires. How you can do that, Dr. Shalom will actually go to that tomorrow. And good conduct, how you can now adopt good conduct and behavior, is that simple analogy that our beloved teacher Shaykh Ahmad Dabagh, the made, is that whenever you meet somebody, they should feel happy when you leave them. Simple as that. So seclusion, I mentioned seclusion. So you have been given 24 hours. You have been given 24 hours. All we're saying is that if you want to safeguard yourself from all this fitna which is around you, of TV or social media, of women, of wealth, of power, fame and name, and all these different things which is there, if you really want to do that, then what we're saying is that in the 24 hours, is that you've got 24 hours. All we're saying is that dedicate 1 hour in seclusion for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be it at your home, in your room, or whatever. And in that hour, all you're going to be doing is what? Is just, you block everything out, your phones, leave them aside, etc., internet, everything out, and now it's just between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is the ishara being given something up? Maybe the Dajjalic forces are coming, I don't know. Now it's just between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's hearing me giving the solution, so be careful now, okay? Now it's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You block out everything else, and between you and Allah, do your dhikr. Connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Talk to Him. Remember Him. This is purely between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For that 1 hour. That's level 1. Level 2 is that, okay, now imagine, you know, what they'll say is that 1 hour, that means you have 23 hours to do whatever you want. You want to eat, sleep, work, rest, play. 23 hours. Can you not give us 1 hour for Allah? 1 hour. Khair. Level 2 is, give me 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. Seclude yourself. Or 2 hours at least in the 24 hours. Try and do that. Find yourself seclusion for 2 hours at whatever point, and just dedicate yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that time. So in that 2 hours, you can read, you can write, you can actually learn, you can do dhikr, recite. Just sit between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secluding yourself between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing else. That's what you're going to do. And if you can do that, if you think, nah, I can do that, okay, maybe at least once a week, what you can do, half a day or half a night, a day and night. If you can do that, 1 day seclusion. Go to the masjid, go to Azhar, come here, stay for 1 day, 24 hours, seclude yourself on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. 1 day. If you can do that, do 3 days retreat, 3 days seclusion. That's what we're doing. Get away from the hustle and bustle of the dunya, the fitna which is surrounded us 24/7. We need to reconnect, re-energize, refocus, re-straighten our goals, and re-strategize how we actually benefit. 3 days seclusion. If not, level 6 is what? 7 days seclusion. Do it for a week. Like we're doing here for 10 days, do it for a week if you can. If not, if you can think, okay, once in a year what I can do 30 days seclusion if you have to. This will, if you do 30 days, this will actually, then you can do your ascension, you can reconnect or connect to the spiritual world, really reabsorb yourself. Really, what happens by connecting to the spiritual world, the effects of the dunya and the temptation will weaken, and it actually go less and less and less and less. And your yaqeen becomes stronger and stronger in the akhirah. You just want, these are different levels. You can choose which level you want, but choose one. The smart person, the enlightened person. When you're in the cave, you work on yourself. you work in your organs of the body, you work in your mind, you work in your heart, you work in your nafs. Enlighten them, purify them, enlighten them. As you're doing that in seclusion, away from that, you're not allowing the fitna to come and actually corrupt you and actually entertain you and destroy you. What do you see here? Mountain. Yeah, everybody can see a mountain? Yeah? Tell me something about a mountain, Adil. Huh? They're big, mashallah. What else can you say about a mountain? Sorry? Signs of Allah, excellent. What else can you say, Atiq? What can you say about a mountain? Brilliant, immovable. They say everybody has different levels of faith. There are 4 categories of faith, of Iman. Some people's Iman is like a leaf, where the wind blows and the Iman is going withering over here and there. Other people's Iman is like the grass, where the roots are there, but as soon as the wind blows, they can sway here, left and there and everywhere. And it can be plucked up as well. Another people's Iman, which is a lot stronger, is like the tree. Roots are quite firmly in the ground, they got a branch and trunk, but when a big wind, a large wind, a gale force wind comes, it can be uprooted as well. And there are those whose Iman like a mountain. Come rain, shine, hail, storm, whatever it is, it falls upon, they don't move. They absorb. They don't actually crumble. They don't get over it. Even if there's earth, they still stand still. Zilzala, they're still there. They're not actually moving. Because they are actually like, their Iman like a mountain. And these type of Imans are like the Awliya and Salihin. The Prophet mentioned the Awliya and Salihin, their Iman is like a mountain. So now what we're going to do, we're going to play a track now, is that this is about a lion. And what's happening this, just to give you detail, is that the hyenas will represent the fitna of this dunya, the different fitnas, and you are the lion. And a lot of people, they think, I'm okay, I'm all right, doesn't matter, I'm fine, I'll fight these hyenas, I'm strong, I'm brave, I've got the knowledge, I've got the wisdom, I can do this. So what happens? The hyenas attack. One fitna comes, another fitna comes, another fitna comes. And what happens? The lion, what it'll do is that it fights it off, fends off one, then it gets tired. Despite him being a lion, he having the knowledge, he has all the wisdom, he has the knowledge, he thinks he has the knowledge, he thinks I can fight them off, but then he gets subdued because he's on his own. He is on his own. And then what happens? The hyenas attack him in one go. That is what happens. Many of us, we feel as though we're exhausted, we're drained, we're gone. Too much, we can't bear it. It's too difficult. So what happens? The hyenas, they all attack in one go, and the lion is getting tired, exhausted. Then, what do you see? They see a lion, another lion. As soon as the hyenas see the other lion, you are being the lion, you become bolden. You get energy, you get strength. And the hyenas, just by seeing the other lion, they start running. And this, my dear brothers, is represented, it represents of having a teacher and a guide. Is that when you be on your own, is that all these things will overwhelm you. These desires, the temptations, shaitanic forces, women, family, children, health, wealth, everything will actually what? Overwhelm you. But if you actually see that the sheikh represent the mountain, you need to go into the cave of the mountain and take solitude and refuge in there, in your sheikh. So now we're going to play this clip. I'll then make so you can understand what we mean by having a guide, a sheikh, and when you're doing it by your own. So watch this clip, inshallah, Aziz, so they can understand. This is taken from the hadith, obviously, as you can see. This is the lonely disciple, a person who's on his own. He thinks, I have knowledge, alhamdulillah, I have wisdom, I'm good, everything's fine. Now this is the hyenas represents the fitna of this world. Wealth comes, shaitanic forces coming. They surrounded you. The lion thought he was strong on his own, but now what's happening is encircled and surrounded, trying to fend them off. Now he starts getting worried. What's happening to me? My life is in danger. I'm exhausted. What can I do? Now your life is in danger, your mind is in danger, everything is in danger. What can you do? Because he thought he knew he could be okay. Then you lose hope. Ya Rab, help me. What can I do? I'm going to now, definitely I'm going to die. What's going to happen to me? Tired and exhausted, this is it now. He thinks, I am definitely out for now, I cannot fend them off. What can I do? I'm entrenched now. The fitness has surrounded me, I can't do anything now, I'm going to be doomed. Then the sheikh comes, the guide comes. As soon as the fitna, the shayateen, the hyenas, they see the sheikh, they become worried. Just by seeing them, the lion gets courage and strength. Just by seeing the other lion, the sheikh says, and reminds him who he is. You're a lion, so fight. Gives him strength, emboldens him, ennobles him. The hyenas run away. They are no match for the lion, for the sheikh. The lion is reminded, this is who you are. The DIY thing that I am safe, I am going to fight, I am strong, you will get exhausted, you will get tired. But the person who has a guide, who has a sheikh, just by knowing the fact that the sheikh is there, it gives him strength, it gives him encouragement, emboldens him. But also the shayateen, the fitna which has surrounded you, they become more now bearable, and you find a way in which you can protect yourself. So what we say is that the smart person, that's why I said in a Khidr, that's why I said in Imam Mahdi, said in Isa alayhi salam, is that they like the sheikh. That's why Dajjal runs away from them. Is that this is why, is that when you have a sheikh, the sheikh is like the mountain. You need to take seclusion in the heart of the cave of the sheikh. Find solace and peace in there, and you get protected from the fitna which has surrounded you. The person who has no refuge in which, in terms of he hasn't had a guide, he will get exhausted. You yourself know. You tried it yourself. You tried to stop from sins. You tried to stop from this and that, and it's still not going away. And you're at a point where you're exhausted. You feel as though that's it. I can't take it anymore. From the novice to the knowledgeable, I am telling you now, is that knowledgeable people as well. You think I'm supposed to be a scholar, but I'm struggling. This is happening. Why? Fitna doesn't differentiate. Fitna is fitna. It's a trial and tribulation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, but a person who has a shaykh, who has a guide, just the mere presence of knowing that you have a guide, that you can, somebody who can advise you and actually direct you and protect you with their advice and guidance, this emboldens that person and gives them strength to power to fight and carry on. So summary, my dear brothers and elders and sisters who are listening, recite Surah Al-Kahf on a Friday. If you can recite all of it, great. At least recite the first 10 verse or last 10 verse. Or at least recite the first one, commit that to memory. Choose a level for seclusion. Whichever level you want, choose that. Because the fitna is there. Adopt silence. Long silence. Adopt good character. And in details of that, inshallah, in tomorrow's session, Dr. Shan will show us how we can actually manifest that and do that in a practical way. But the last thing that you saw, that clip about a guide, is that is the most fundamental thing, because the guide for the Sahaba was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who is your guide? Or are you yourself the guide? And if that's the case, if you don't know and you're struggling, then wake up and realize you're in need of a guide who can actually direct you and show you how to become the lion that you're supposed to be and fend off the hyenas, heckles and jackals as they call them, and the hyenas and the fitna and tribulation of this life which is surrounding you. That don't cave in. Oh, the drugs is killing me. Oh, the women is killing me. Oh, salah I cannot do. Oh, I cannot do that. Oh, I have a problem with gambling. Oh, I have a problem. You are Ashraf al-Makhluqat. You are the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ, the best of the creation. Why is it that you are succumbing to this? You can be strong and you can overcome this. Anything can be overcome. But you need a guide. You will need a guide. Jazakum Allah jaza. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Jazakallah. It was very, very powerful. Inshallah, let's take a break and let's get back together 5 past 5. So inshallah, get a good 25-minute break.